Hello there! Welcome to the Siege of Orgrimmar Looking for Raid Guide. My name is Tuskeh, and today we will be discussing Wing 2 of the Siege of Orgrimmar, the Gates of Retribution, covering everything from trash to the bosses, and how to handle them. Role-specific information will also be included. Now just to clarify, this video is not a substitute for a detailed boss-specific guide. This is more of an overview, a crash course, designed to get you up to speed with the bosses you'll be facing, so that you're ready to complete the wing and keep up with the others in your pug. As always, the best thing to be is patient. Wipes probably are going to happen in an LFR, so be prepared to put up with mistakes. Now, let's get started. The trash up to the first boss isn't really that tough, but try not to pull too many if you're a tank. DPSs, if you can reach a cannon first, use it to deal tons of damage to the trash. Interrupt the Tidal Shaman's chain heal, and stun the Bone Crushers when they cast Fracture on raid members. Pull all the way down the beach, killing the trash guarding the cannons. Then interact with the stacks of bombs to destroy the cannons, and spawn the boss. Return to the harbour, and wait for your faction leaders to arrive. The first boss, Galakras, revolves around killing adds and securing the two towers either side of the valley to shoot down the dragon so that your raid can kill it. Before the fight, you'll want to organise a team to go into the towers. You'll want a tank, a couple of DPSs, and a healer. To start the fight, talk to your faction leaders. Once you do, 2 goblin demolitionists will work on breaking the doors to the tower on the left. Waves of adds will spawn in until Galakras is shot down. Of these groups, the Tidal Shaman are the most important. DPSs focus them first. Interrupt their chain heal, death grip them into the raid, and kill their healing tide totems. The grunts can be AoE'd down, and the flag bearers drop banners that the DPSs need to kill nice and fast. They have 1 health, but can't be AoE'd, so just single target them. The Bone Crushers will try to cast Fracture on the NPCs, dealing damage to them. Stop this by stunning them when they start casting it. You can also knock them back when you see them start casting it. The Flame Slingers are archers that will launch fire arrows at people, leaving patches of fire on the ground for a couple of seconds. Keep an eye on your feet and move out of the fire. Proto Drakes will do raid damage while they're in the air, and when they spawn as an ad wave, they will do a flame breath. Tank them facing away from the raid. There are also 2 mini-bosses that will spawn in the ad waves. Kor'kron the Snake is the first. She spawns with 2 adds that will do a channeled cleave, move out of its range. Kor'kron will put a dot on the tank and throw poison clouds at the raid, move out of them. At 50% health, she turns into a big snake and does lots of raid damage. Kill her nice and fast. Around this point, a Demolisher will spawn. This signals that the tower team, that should have been organised earlier, should move into position in front of the left tower, but don't go in just yet. The Demolisher will stun and deal a whole bunch of damage to anyone inside. DPSs, kill the Demolisher as soon as Kor'kron is dead. When the Demolisher dies, the tower team should move into the tower. If you're a confident and well-geared tank, pull everything to the top. Otherwise, kill the adds on the stairs, then move up to the top. Just be aware that some people might be a tad impatient. Now, at the top of the tower there's going to be a mini-boss. Avoid his shockwave, or it will probably knock you off. Kill the mini-boss and the adds, and if you're a DPSer, jump into the cannon and start shooting down the Proto-Drakes in the sky. Everyone else, jump down. The fall won't kill you if you're at full health. Now, if you're in the cannon, don't bother shooting Galakras yet. Once the Proto-Drakes are all dead, return to the fight downstairs. Make sure you activate the rope near the edge to allow you to quickly go up again, because you're probably going to need to. Continue killing adds downstairs until High Enforcer Thranok spawns. He'll pull people close to him and then charge up an AoE smash. Move out of range of it. Kill him. Soon after, a second Demolisher will spawn. As before, the tower team should get into position in front of the second tower. Kill the Demolisher. Complete the tower. This mini-boss is going to hit harder than the first, but generally will have similar abilities. They'll have the shockwave that'll knock you off, so make sure you don't get hit by it. Once the second tower is clear, a second DPSer should get into the cannon. Both cannons at this point are going to need to be manned. Someone from downstairs, or the other DPSer from the tower team, should go to the first tower and man the cannon. You can use the rope to jump up if you lowered it beforehand. Both players in the cannon must aim at Galakras and fire at the same time to knock him down. Once he is down, the DPSs in the cannons must come down, and everyone else should stack up together. A marker will help with this. There will be no more adds. Galakras will do heavy raid damage and fixate fireballs on people. If you get fixated by a fireball, aim it so that the fireball will go through the raid. This will prevent it from dealing lethal damage. Pop your defensive cooldowns near the end of the fight. Healers, there's going to be an awful lot of raid damage here. Tanks, swap whenever the other tank is getting low. Kill Galakras, and you've won the fight. There's no trash up to the next boss, just follow the road to the Gates of Orgrimmar and move into position past the Iron Juggernaut. You're going to be fighting this guy next. Now, the Iron Juggernaut is a fairly simple 2-phase fight. In the first phase, he can be tanked, and in the second, he can't. Now in the first phase he's going to do a conal dot that will make you have to do a tank switch at about 3 stacks. There are multiple positions to tank the Iron Juggernaut in, just try to give the raid plenty of room. The position you see at the moment will work fairly well. If you're not tanking the Iron Juggernaut, you're still going to be busy. Throughout the fight, he'll launch crawler mines into the ground that will detonate for heavy raid damage after about 20 seconds. In phase 1, it'll be 3 mines per wave, and in phase 2 it's just going to be much more. To prevent these mines from exploding for raid damage, just right click on them. It'll throw you into the air and do damage to you. Try to do this on all 3 mines if you can. People who aren't tanks can survive doing this if they use heavy survival cooldowns. Doing this is very important. The Iron Juggernaut will also launch rock lines at people, but will follow them in a straight line for a short amount of time. Avoid getting hit by them by strafing away and going in a small circle. He will also fire rockets at people. There'll be a targeting zone, then an explosion. There isn't much time to move out of the targeting zone, so drop whatever you're doing unless it's very important. He'll also randomly zap people for a hard-hitting dot, so healers keep on your toes. Once his energy bar reaches 100, the Iron Juggernaut will enter phase 2. He can't be tanked at this point. He's going to do pulsing, heavy, raid-wide damage. He'll continue to launch crawler mines, so tanks continue jumping on them. He's going to launch tar pools at people, stay out of them. Now the most important thing about this is he'll target a random player with his cutter laser, which is going to follow them. If you're targeted, try to kite it out of the raid, but it's very important not to kite them over tar pools. If this laser hits a tar pool, the pool will explode for raid-wide damage. Finally, and most importantly, he will use Shock Pulse, a large raid-wide AoE that will knock everyone back by about 200 yards. It has a very short cast time, so you're going to want to preempt yourself by moving into a position against a wall or another object that will prevent you from being flung away from the fight. After his energy bar depletes, the Iron Juggernaut will return to phase 1, and the fight will repeat itself. Avoid stuff on the ground, off tanks jump on mines, main tank face him away from the raid. Avoid getting knocked back in phase 2, don't kite the laser over the tar, and you'll knock him over right easy. There's an awful lot of trash up to the next boss, who are positioned inside Garrosh's throne room. You'll want to clear the entirety of the outside area before engaging them. There'll be a blind blade master before the Valley of Strength. Ranged, nuke him down, melee try to avoid his strikes. Unfortunately, melee are going to get screwed over against those guys. Run away when he uses blind cleave. The entire valley is crawling with trash, but tanks don't overpull or you're going to wipe the raid very fast. 1 pack at a time is just fine. The Kor'kron grunts can be AoE'd, the overseers do a charge, the Dark Shaman drop poison totems that you can and should kill, do an interruptible lava burst, and do a ground AoE called Electrified Ground that you should move out of. The Shadow Mages do a Mind Spike that hurts members of the raid, and a Shadow Flame that disorients people in front of them. Interrupt both if you can. Make sure you pull the trash inside the buildings. The only special trash here are the 2 treasury guards outside the bank. They hit very hard and have an enrage. Dispel it with anti-enrage effects if you can. Mokvar the Treasurer is a small mini-boss inside the bank, and he'll mind control people with bribe, get them to about 50% to break it. If you loot a Kor'kron key, use it on the prisons near the throne room to free the NPCs and give your raid buffs. Once the trash is down, if you have some kind of combat dropper, like Rogue Vanish, Hunter Feign Death or Mage Invisibility, then head into the throne room, pull the bosses, and then drop combat so that they reset. Head out to the rest of the raid. You'll fight them in the valley. The Dark Shaman will respawn just outside the throne room on their 2 wolf mounts. The 2 bosses will share health. They gain more abilities as their health goes down. You want 1 tank on each. Make sure you tank and kill the wolves first. They put a dot on their tank. Keep them close together at all times. You're going to slowly move around the valley in a circle to avoid abilities. Harom, the male orc, does a Frost Storm strike, which does increasing damage to his tank. You want to swap on about 3 to 5 stacks. Kardris, the female orc, does a Frost Storm bolt that does large damage to the tank. It can be reflected and grounded by totems. At 85% health, the Dark Shaman will gain toxic abilities. Kardris will make large toxic storms that slowly move around, and these will spawn smaller storms that move in straight lines and knock you up if you get hit by them. Try to avoid both. Harom will put a nasty dot on people. At 65% health, the Dark Shaman gain poison abilities. Kardris will use Foul Geyser, summoning lots of green blobs near her tank, and these will do a small AoE around them. Ranged AoE them down. If the tank on Kardris can, try to kite them backwards while keeping aggro, but don't stand near them. Harom will use Foul Stream, targeting someone and then creating a large line of poison for a few seconds. If you get it, try to move out of the raid, but no one should stand in it at all. The Dark Shaman will still do their toxic abilities. At 50% health, the Dark Shaman gain Ash abilities. Kardris will create a large red circle that after 30 seconds will explode for lethal damage. It will also do raid damage. Don't stand in the red circle of death. Harram will create ashen walls. These are lines of untargetable adds that don't move and hit anyone nearby very hard. He's always going to target this on the tank. Move him and the raid away from them. They'll still do their toxic and poison abilities. At 25% health, the Dark Shaman will Bloodlust, doing more damage for the rest of the fight. Counter this with your own Bloodlust and nuke them down. There's an awful lot of stuff to not stand in here, so just make sure you're always alert and keep moving. There's a fair amount of trash up to the last boss of this wing. The 2 Blind Blade Masters can be handled like before. Stay away from their abilities. Move down the drag as a raid, because when you see Overlord Runthak, he will immediately order Demolishers to fire at you. These will deal a lot of damage if they hit you, so keep moving as you approach. Tank Overlord Runthak. Stand near a Demolisher and try to aggro it, regardless of your role. Runthak will dot people. Kill the Demolishers, then Runthak. Free Gammon if you're feeling heroic. Ignore him either way. Kill the Shadow Mages leading into the Cleft of Shadow. Drop down to the left unless your raid decides for some reason to kill the Doomguard. Decurse his Curse of Tongues, kill him, and then move into the Ragefire Chasm. The Arcweavers here have an Arcane Shock and a Magistrike. Interrupt both, but the Magistrike does a lot of AoE damage, so always interrupt that if you can. They're gonna blink around. The next pack attacks from stealth in this corridor. These assassins fixate on people. If you're fixated, don't turn your back to them or you're going to die. The War Shaman up next are healers. Interrupt their chain heal and kill their totems as soon as you can. Dispel their earth shield with offensive dispels. You're now nearing Nazgrim's room, and your raid may decide to reset him to despawn the adds that he will start with. If they do decide to do so, stay outside of the room. Otherwise, next up are the Iron Blades. They will channel a Blade Storm that hurts people nearby. They can be stunned and rooted. They will use Last Stand at low health, temporarily increasing their health. Just ignore it and kill them. Nazgrim is the last boss in this wing. He generates and spends rage to activate abilities and will summon lots of adds. The adds almost always take priority over the boss. Nazgrim will change stances like a warrior. He uses Sundering Blow that decreases the tank's armor and gives him rage. Swap every 4 or so stacks. Nazgrim will use Heroic Shockwave, where he will jump to a ranged raid member and create lines of fire. Stay spread out and out of the lines. He will create Kor'kron Banners that give him rage. Kill them as soon as possible. He will use Warsong, dealing heavy raid damage. He can, if he reaches 100 rage, throw Ravagers around, which are axes that slowly spin around and move in lines. Avoid them if you can, but most raids will probably not see these. He'll also summon adds throughout the fight. They are exactly like the trash up to him. The War Shaman are the highest priority for DPS to kill, as they use Chain Heal and Healing Totems that can affect the boss. The Arcweavers are up next, dealing damage with Arcane Shot and heavy AoE damage with Magistrike. Interrupt Magistrike. Again, they're gonna blink around. The Assassins are next, stealthing, although you can knock them out of the stealth with quick attacks when they spawn or AoE when they're stealth, and fixate on players. Never turn your back to them. Face tank them or kite them. Finally, the Iron Blades do Blade Storms and Last Stand. Stun them, root them, and kill them last. When Nazgrim enters defensive stance, you don't want to attack him at all. Turn away, kill adds, twiddle your thumbs if there are no adds. Just wait for it to end, then resume your DPS. Bloodlust at about 15% health and nuke him down. At 10% health, he's going to summon a ton of adds. Control them if you can, but focus the boss. If he reaches 15% just before a defensive stance, try to avoid nuking him until it ends, but you can nuke him through a defensive stance if you have to. Once he's dead, you've finished. Thanks for watching this guide. I hope you found it informative. If you have any comments, suggestions or feedback, feel free to thumbs up or down and leave a comment. Additionally, I would suggest subscribing to catch these guides as soon as they come up. They should prove mighty helpful in Warlords. Best of luck with your loot!